How come he learned?
Himself, he's interested in learning.
Oh, nice.
Okay, let's discuss now Java. So, if I need to introduce Java, I can say Java is one of the most powerful languages. Yes.
Yeah.
If you want to know about Java, most of the organizations they use Java. Yes, because it is powerful and it supports quite a few functionalities. So, Java was first developed by one person called James Gosling at Sun Micro System Systems. Okay, in 1991. Later on, Oracle Corporation acquired it. So if you go to Oracle website, you will be able to download it. Yes, Java is a programming language which makes writing, compiling, and debugging programming easy. So it is easy to debug and do these activities. Java is class based. It follows object oriented programming, OOPS concepts, which I will discuss in detail, and in design for few implementation dependencies as possible. It has less and less dependencies. And this is the one of the reasons people prefer Java. And it is a free language. Yes. Or you don't need to pay. Some of the functionalities of Java, some of the features of Java, you need to pay for. But Java is free. So you don't need to pay any amount as a license. As for example, if you have some of the other languages, if you know, then you end up paying them license fees monthly, yearly. Yes.
Yeah.
And Java applications compiled by bytecode, they can only run in Java virtual machines. This is known as JVM. Yes. If you want to learn Java and if you worry about syntax, then the Java uses the same syntax as C and C++. So this is one of the things that we call it in India. If you know one of the languages, it becomes easy to learn any other languages. Long time back, it is might be the same thing, but long time back, I was told C is the basic language. If you know C or C++, it becomes extremely easy for you to learn any other languages. Yes.
Yeah.
So today in the first class, we will discuss identifiers in Java. As for example, you are known as Vinay. I'm known as Brijesh. Yes.
Yeah.
They are our names, we call it. Yes. But this is how we are identified. Yes. Am I right?
Yeah.
So the names are identifiers. So in order to find a person, we use name as an identifier in the in the same way. In order to find certain features of Java, we use some of the identifiers. Yes. So as for example, if I need to tell you, there are five main identifiers in Java. Five main identifiers. One, test, which is class name. Yes. The class name should be unique. If in a project you have exactly the same similar class name, you will see an error. Yes. So the class name you can have. You can keep anything as class name. Yes. As for example, let me just put class name. As for example, if I say public class my name, okay, this is our class. Inside can be anything there. So here my name is what? A class name. In Java, class name always starts with capital letter, is one of the syntax rules there. It is recommended.
Oh,
Each and every class has to have a method. Yes. So method name should be unique as well. If it is an executable class, yes, then it has to have main method. So that's why in a class we write something called public static void main. Yes. Do you remember?
mhm.
Something like this. You have the public, but at the same time you can have the private class as well. Okay. In the same manner, you can have private methods in Java based on how you are going to access. Based on your security features, you name these methods or classes private or public. They're access modifiers. So, okay, in here we use something like public this string. Yes, here is there. So, what is string there? So, this is predefined class name. Predefined class name. So, in this particular class, these features of the string they are defined. Yes. Here you are using any string you are using. So when you do Java, when you install it, hopefully I have as well. So in Eclipse, these predefined classes they come as jar files. It is not just in Java. Whatever you do, okay, these predefined classes of any language or any tool, they are defined as in jar files. So if I open jar files, uh, if I maximize it, can you see here? These are jar files. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, yeah.
So in these one of the classes, they have defined all the functionalities and everything. Okay. So java.xml, it will have the XML related features. So in that, it has got so many. See, this XML is a jar file. Java.xml is a jar file. Yes. So it will have everything related to XML. You think in one of them there are so many packages there. Yes. In one of them there is a class called zalanconstants.cam. Yeah. In this you can see how many features are there. So if you open it, you will be able to see. Can you see this?
Yeah,
Methods and everything. Yes. Can you see?
yeah.
So here string is there. So using, so there will be a string class, predefined class known as string. Yes. When you are learning Selenium, you will do utils. So here it says internal utils. There are so many errors and everything is there. What it will be say, yeah? Object factory. So here you can see these classes and you can see how they, if you are expert, you want to learn, then you can go through them and read this line by line and it will help you. But We are not going to build Java, okay? Or we are just going to use as a tester, which is important to us, and as a tester only. So we are not developers, so we will not go in this much detail. But I'm just explaining these are the classes somewhere it will have the features of string, okay? In one of the classes we pass arguments, yes? No, here arguments, yes? So here we are saying string arguments. So we are using a variable. So in this class you say int I equals 5. Okay, something like this. So int I variable, yes? So you have variable name. This I is a variable name. Instead of I you put my number. Yes? See, my number is a variable name. I give the wrong number there. And the last but not least is another time you can use some other variables as well. Yes? Different things. So here I put arguments is a variable. My number is a variable. Yes? So these are the things we use in identifier. Another things you have to have if you use it, camel casing. When you are using Java, okay, if you use camel case it becomes easy. Yes. What is camel casing, do you remember?
No.
No, I explain you. So I put camel C capital and case C capital. Yes. So if I want to use camel case for a class name, so I want to use class name as BrijeshVirola. Okay.
Okay, B capital and V capital.
Yes. So if I put BrijeshVirola, it's very complicated to read. Yes,
Yeah.
like Brijesh is my name, so easy. But as for example, something like I am going to London. Yes,
Yeah.
my class name is I am going to London. It's
Yeah.
very difficult to read. Yes,
Yeah.
so you can, if it is a class name, you can put class I. Yes, something like this for the class name. If it is a method name, then you can put something. Okay, method name. Then you put first letter as lowercase. If it is like this, class name, no, method name Brijesh Virola, then I will put Brijesh lowercase V capital. Yes.
Yeah.
As for example, I have a variable name. Yes. Something like this. How complicated? Then you can put variable name. Yes. For a method. So this becomes easy to identify and read. Readable. Yes. So what are the rules for identifiers? The only allowed characters for identifiers are alphanumeric. So it can have A to Z capital letters, A to Z lowercase, 0 to 9 number, dollar sign, and underscore. Yes. You can use as your identifiers. Yes. If you're writing, you can use it identifiers. have alphanumeric value. Yes, characters. A to Z, okay, means uppercase AZ, lowercase 0 to 9 number, dollar sign, it accepts the dollar sign. You can have underscore, etc. Yes, but there are identifiers should not start with numbers. So you can have as identifier Brijesh, Virola 1234 dollar. This is a correct. Yes, but identifiers should not start with numbers. So you cannot put 1234 Brijesh Virola. Yes. So like that identifiers should not start with 0 to 9. It doesn't start with numbers, okay? Identifiers are case sensitives, okay? So when it says integer, an integer, they are different things in Java. For us, it might be the same. If I write Brijesh Virola this way and Brijesh Virola that way, they are both different things. Yes. Next, there's no limit in identifier names. Yes, no limit for identifier names. For identifier names, but advisable to use 4 to 15. If you put like, okay, you can have something identifiers like this, but will it make any difference? It goes big, and it will unnecessarily occupy place or space. Yeah. So there is no limit, but it is better you can limit your identifiers between 4 to 15 letters or characters. Yes,
Yeah.
there is another thing called reserved words cannot be used as identifiers. In if I need to give example, int while. So while there is a loop there, and that's why it becomes invalid. So there are reserved words you cannot use as identifier. There's a big list there. If I use my variable with different xi, x1, I1, yes, you can't use. You can use them, yes. Examples of invalid identifiers, my variable has two words. It has a space. So, as for example, there should not be space in your identifier. So, no space, no space in the identifiers. Yes. As I explained, it should not start with numbers. You cannot use plus sign in your identifiers. Okay, not allowed because it is not alphanumeric value. It accepts the underscore, but it does not accept the dash. Yes. So if you put dash in your identifier name, it does not accept it. Yes, or hyphen you call it. Java identifier should not have this ampersand sign as well. Okay, and simple. They are not allowed. Yes. So some of the reserved words are there. We cannot use keywords. There are 50. There's a big list there, but we are not going to go that much in detail. Yes, there's a big list you can't use as Java identifiers. Any question?
No.
If your question you need to ask because this is important stuff. Okay. Why this is important? Because when you're learning it, you will feel it is simple and you understand it. But when you actually have to use it, whenever I'm training you, you will be able to understand as well. Okay. But in an actual project, when you have to independently use it, then it becomes complicated. How to use this? So it is better if you have any small doubt, no question is bad question in testing. So you can ask yes. Any question? Next, this is the identifiers rules. Next, data types in Java. Like all other languages, there are different data types in Java. Okay. These data types are categorized as primitive data types and non-primitive data types. Primitive data type. What is primitive data type? Primitive data types are only single value and have no special capabilities. Okay, what are they? Boolean. Yes. What it stands for? True or false? Yes. So it
Yeah.
does not have special capability. Boolean. True or false. Byte data types. The range for byte data type, it has two completion integer it is known, but the value you can see is minus 128 to plus 127 in Java. Yes. Any question? There is another data types called char. It contains a char and it has a range. It also have ASCII, ASCII keys. It has some letters. If you Google, you will be able to find as well. This value is 02255. Yes.
Yeah.
It covers alphabets. Yes. Yes. Character. Char means character. Yes. And you can have some beta special b is there. Yes. Not b. This beta sign and some other values in the char character. If you put with slash, you can contain some numbers as well. Yes. Any question?
Where do we use all these?
As for example, when you are a developer and if you are passing some values to test some of the functionalities, verify you will use this. But as for example, I can say, yeah, I want to define my name Brijesh, so I can put as a string. Yes, in double quote. But in the same manner, if I want to put a char character, then I will be able to do it as well. But it should be put in single quote. That's it. As a tester, I use boolean, integer. I use double ones. That's it. Yes. In the string, string is the most important thing. Yes. So these are the few. But if you are a developer, you will be using this all. Short. It has some short range is there, but I give you directly range 30 minus 32,768 to 32,767.
What is that?
It's a range. So in the short, whenever your number is between these two numbers, this data type you can use as short. Yes. Int, there is another int. So it covers minus 2147,483,648 plus exactly the same number with 7. Okay. This is the big range you have for integer. Normally, that's why we use int for literally everything. Yes. So I don't think you will use them. You just put int I something int. This number is something. Yes. Because this is a big range. There is another data type called long. I will not tell the size of float and double. Yes. It has some ranges different. So I am not going to tell how it's a very big number. No need to remember. But when it is float, you need to remember it can have
One.
7 decimal places. Okay. So forever you are using currency. Yes. One dot something. In this case, you use float values. For long, if you want to use this exactly the same number as long, as for example, you want to use 1 as long. It is in short, it is in char as well. You can use, yeah, int. But if you put L just after it, then it becomes long. Yes, exactly the same thing with double. In any number, after if you put D, it becomes double. So these are the different things you need to remember. If you want to use any value as long or double, you just define that value with D and L in the end.
Double
Yes,
is 1D or ID?
it's I put D, not 1D. I put 1 is a number, but I put D just behind it. So when you put a number behind any number, yes, it becomes double. So as for example, 100, you have the value 100, yes. So 100 can be short, yes. It can be byte, it can be integer, it can be long, and it can be double. Agree?
Yeah.
But if you want to specifically define this as long, how can you define that? 100 comes in literally every category.
Yeah.
So if you want to define that 100 in as long or as double, then you don't need to do anything. You just put 100 L. Yes. When you put 100 and L, it becomes long. If you put 100 and D, it becomes double.
Okay. I
And
thought for 100 we put 1 and D. So it is 100.
no. Any value you put, okay?
And put D, it's double.
Yes. Then it becomes double. Any other question?
And what for long? We
L,
put,
capital L, okay? Not
that's it.
lowercase l, that's it.
So what happens if, for example, if I give 100L, what happens?
It becomes a double value, double range. If you
L.
put, see, let's put int I equals 100. Okay. So here you say you are using I 100, which is integer. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to use double, then I put double I equals 100 D. Then this 100, exactly the same number, becomes a double.
Yeah.
Why you want to use double and large is a valid question. Yes. Even though 100 is can be short, 100 can be byte, 100 can be int, then why do you want to use 100 as L or 100 as long? Yes.
Yeah.
Why? Because in some other places, if you want to convert them or you want to call that particular variable as long or integer, this is one of the reasons you define it. Yes. So, as for example, you have a method. In that method, you are using the same value somewhere as long. Yes. In this particular case, you define it. I have some examples. I will go through these examples when you actually do live project. Okay, when we start working, I will say one of the places you call this particular value as int. Okay, yes. As for example, I give your account number. Account number is 8-digit number. Yes.
Yeah.
This 8-digit number is always integer. Yes. So
Yeah.
you have defined, but this 8-digit number somewhere you have used as a long value. Yes, in a different method. So at one place you have an integer, at another place you are using the same value as long due to some calculations you want to perform. So in this case you are calling it, then the other value becomes long as well. So you don't need to convert. Yes. So when you are calling and some doing some mathematical calculations, what is your purpose? Based on your purpose, you will define that value as long or double or integer. Any other question?
No.
There are other data types. They are known as non-primitive data types. One is called string and another is array. What is string? String is anything you put in the double quote in simple way if you want to understand. Okay. You have this double quote there. Yes. In this double quote you put anything. Okay. That becomes a string. So as for example, what is 100? 100 is number, so you will use the int or whatever you want to use. But that value, if you put in double quote, that becomes what it will become?
String.
String. So if you have if you don't want to restrict something, you want to put anything, then you put in double quote, and whatever you put in double quote, it becomes a string. Yes. Any other question?
No.
There's another data types called array. Yes.
Yeah.
Array is a group of variables. Yes. Array, a group of variables. As for example, if I put int I, int j, int k, yes, I have three in here. If I want to bunch them together, if I put int I, int j, int k, then there are three different variables there. Yes, I can bunch them together as array and they become in this square brackets. Okay. This square bracket can have one value or it can have n number of values. Yes.
Yeah.
So in the square bracket, you can put just I, or you can put I, comma j, comma k. Yes. And this becomes, so how many values you are going to pass based on your requirements, you are going to group together and accordingly you will pass the values in an array. You will use this array a lot.
So
Okay.
in this array, can we not use numbers or it's only for alphabets?
You can use anything.
Okay.
Yes, but this is in here you can use variable names. If you want to put numbers directly, then you can put 10, 20. I'm just giving these are the examples, okay?
Yeah.
40, okay, 50. So these are the values I'm passing. Yes. So this is your array. Any value you can pass. Here when I was giving example, I have defined these variables here. Yes. So
Yeah.
these variables I'm passing, I'm saying. If you want to just put, then you can put some values like this.
So again, we have to give int is equal I is equal to 10.
Yes, yes, correct. In the other way, you are give what is that value. And when you are passing some values, okay, uh, like as for example, you are testing something and you are building some framework, yes, then you are passing this first name and last name, your username and password, yes. Then you can pass username, password as variable, and you can define what is your username. Brijesh, what is password? Password, yes, like put this is the password, okay, as your value of these variables.
Yeah.
Yes, any other question?
No.
Okay, let's stop it here today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we will discuss some enums data types and explain how we are going to use them.
Okay.